Okay, so we are going to look at lesson 4.07 or unit 4, lesson 7, sketching lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is read my problem. Carl withdraws the same amount of money from his account each week. Carl started with $950 in his account. After 5 weeks of withdrawing money, he had $350 left in his account, and that was after 5 weeks. Graph Carl's account balance as it changes over time on the coordinate graph. So, if I look back up here, he started with $950. So that was at the very beginning. He started with $950. Okay, so I can put a dot on the graph because this is money and this is the weeks. Now let's go back up here. He started with $950, so we have a point here. And then after 5 weeks, so I'm going to go over here to 5, and he had $350. So I'm going to go 5 up to 350 and put a point. And now all I've got those 2 points on my graph, and I can just draw my line. So all I did was go and look for his beginning point, how much he had to start with, and then it told me 5 weeks he had $350. So it looks like at about 8 weeks he'll be about out of money if he continues withdrawing the same amount. Okay. Xavier and Bobby earn a salary check every week. They combine their checks into one account. After 1 week, Xavier and Bobby had each been paid $25. After 2 weeks, they had $100 together. Graph the amount of money Xavier and Bobby have combined as it changes over time on the coordinate graph. So after 1 week, okay, they had each been paid $25. So Xavier had been paid $25 and Bobby had been paid $25. So together, 25 plus 25 is $50, and that was at 1 week. So I'm going to go over to 1 week, and I'm going to go up to 50, and I'm going to put my point. So that was 1 week, they had $50. That's my first point. Now it says at 2 weeks, they had $100 together. So I'm going to go over to 2, go up to 100, and plot my point. Then all I have to do, I always use either a piece of paper or a index card just to help me get my lines a little straighter. It doesn't have to be perfect, just give you an idea. Okay, and I can graph my line there. Okay, let's look at this one. Xavier and Bobby each earn a salary check every week. Okay, they combine their checks into one account. After 1 week, they have each been paid $25. And after 2 weeks, they had $100 together. So this is the same scenario that we just looked at. But we want to think about what the scale should look like. Should the x-axis go by 1s from 1 to 10, and the y-axis should go by 25s from 0 to 250? Should the x-axis go by 5s from 0 to 10? Okay, and by 1s from 0 to 250? Well, right off the bat, this y-axis go by 1s from 0 to 250. That would say I need 250 spots going up and down. So that's way too many here. The x-axis, which is our weeks, go by 25s from 0 to 250. I don't think that our weeks will have 250 weeks that we're looking at. So I would say no, probably not. And then the x-axis should go by 10s from 0 to 10. Well, I would have a spot for 0 and then a spot for 10. Would that be a very good um, scale to look at for looking at how much they have each time? Well, we'd have a dot on this one, and then we'd have to guess where all the points are in between. So I'd say that this one, the x-axis, should not go by tens. And then I don't think the y-axis should go by 250s. Should the x-axis go by ones from 0 to 10? Well, I think that would work because it would give us 10 spots so we could accurately put those on the graph, and the y-axis should go by 25s from 0 to 250. So yes, I think that would work. So our answer was A. Okay, Jose rode in a hot air balloon. The hot air balloon descended at a constant rate. Remember, descended means goes down. 1 second after Jose started his descent, his altitude was 950 feet. 8 seconds later, so I've got at 1 he was at 950, okay, and at 8 seconds after, his altitude was at 250. Okay, so let's look at just the x-axis. So the x is this one, our 1 and our 8. So after how many seconds? Should we count by 50s, by 10s, by 1s, or by 5s? Well, if we count by 50s, we're going to have to guess where these are, and then he'll have already hit the ground at 0 here soon. So I don't think that 50s would work. Could we count by 10s? Well, we'd be missing a whole lot of the action because at 8 seconds he was at 250. Okay, so he's going down pretty fast. So I don't think 10s would work. 5s, well, maybe. Maybe. I think we'd miss a lot, but let's try it. So now let's look at our y-axis. That's this one right here, the 950 and 250. Okay, so we've narrowed it down to these two. This one says the y-axis should go down by 50s, and this one says by 500s. Which one is more realistic? Well, we're trying to go down to 0. 500s, if he starts, or at 1 second is at 950, if we're counting by 500s, we'd only have 2 marks on the scale. So I think our best answer is to go by 1s and to go by 50s. Okay, so try Unit 4.07.